Thunder! 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 ThunderCats! Ho!
Welcome back, our beautiful bunglers, to another episode of ThunderCats Reviews, brought to you by the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am your host, Radical Ryan Hunter, here with everyone's favorite brother, David, for a new episode. Ho, David, ho.
Could I be a bungler?
You could be a bungler, and I know we got a few of them today, so we'll get into that. So, David, this is one of the first times that we got to record close to an episode release date, and in the last few days, I noticed that on Long Island, where I am currently located, there is a convention coming up the first week of July called Eternal Con, and Larry Kenny, Lynn Lipton, and Peter Newman, also known as, of course, Lion-O, Chitara, every female cast member, and Tigra and Jackalman will be at this con. So it's about an hour away from me, David. I called you right away and I'm like, oh my God, I just bought a ticket. If any of our listeners are going to be there, going on Sunday. I cannot believe this is happening, David, because how many times have we said, is there a way to talk to Lynn Lipton? Is there a way to get to her? And now, holy crap, the three of them are going to be there in front of me. So I can't believe this.
Well, all I know is you better be selling this podcast to them. Bring out those business cards. If someone tries to get in front of you to take a picture, you elbow them, whatever it takes to get on top.
I will be wearing, of course, our Mumm-ra Bungler shirt. I will proudly be displaying that day.
I think that will actually start some conversations with people, so I'm really excited about that, because people are going to be like, what is that?
Why has that not been taken off of the internet yet from sales? So look forward to that, Radical Ones, because when we record our next episode of ThunderCats, I had been there already, so I'm sure I'll have stories for you. And a matter of fact, David and I have been sitting on a really exciting surprise for all of you. We'll probably reveal it soon. We wanted to originally have it for the finale in December, but honestly, I don't know if I can hold off till then.
We can't wait.
We want our bunglers to hear this really amazing thing that happened to us, and it's been hard for us to keep our mouths quiet, but look forward to that soon.
Yeah, and in all honesty, now that you're going to be meeting cast members in person, I mean, come on, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's meant to be.
Whew, so that will be something to look forward to, and of course, this week's double episodes, David. So why don't we get into our first episode, which is Excalibur, which aired December 2nd of 1985. This is season 1, episode 51. And of course, thank you to the ThunderCats Wikipedia for the synopsis and trivia we will be using. Although, ThunderCats Wikipedia, there was no trivia for these two episodes, which is very odd. It actually looked like the articles, as they call them, for the episodes were incomplete, because a lot of times there's always trivia, the characters were there, but these two episodes were bare, so we will fill in the gaps, hopefully. I gotta say, this is perfect, David, for Sword and Sorcery Summer, which we're doing on our main show of Radical Retro. Excalibur, perfect timing.
So truthfully, for me, I loved this episode. I loved it because of what would be considered, at least in my mind, one of the two of the most powerful swords ever created, really. You've got like He-Man and She-Ra's sword, you've got Excalibur, you've got the Sword of Omens. So, and the other thing is that it kind of ties in this whole thing of Third Earth, First Earth, again, this kind of thing that we go through and we talk about a lot, where Excalibur and the magic of the Lady in the Lake and everything. I really thought it was really cool, I have to say.
Where we viewed this episode was Hulu. Did you notice the yellowing color, David, and the green in this episode by any chance? There was a lot of scenes, especially in Cat's lair, that had this almost yellow hue over it.
Yeah, I think it's just degradation, it's just like time.
So I was actually, I was talking to one of our bunglers that has extensive knowledge of ThunderCats, Zach, who will be coming on the show soon to talk about episodes and different various ThunderCats Thundercat topics, and he thinks whatever broadcast tape that the WB captured it from had that yellowing on it, because the fact that the end credits and the intro didn't have any yellowing suggests that it's been there probably for a while. You know, because they kind of tack on the intro and the end credits, I believe. Like, it's like a stock thing that they kind of add. So, and the other great thing about this, which I had no idea was a thing, Zach said that there was a fan who was actually working on renewing and refreshing the Thundercats episodes with, you know, technology that I guess is available, and he's upscaling them and doing things like that. I just wish that the actual WB put that much heart into the release. I do get it at the time. I mean, David, when did those DVDs come out? I mean, that was like 2006 or I mean, it was forever ago. So I get it at the time putting series out, but I'm hoping if our movie actually gets released, maybe WB will put some money into Thundercats again.
In all honesty, so let's say years ago, when they colorized black and white, or when they did restoration, they literally had like almost like, I guess, like hand painting of reels of film, right? Nowadays, there has to be, I mean, considering AI can make Shakira do Olivia Newton-John songs and sound really good. And not that she doesn't sound good, I love Shakira, but I'm just saying, like, with all the stuff, there's got to be a way just to have it automatically processed through. I think the biggest issue would be it not knowing maybe true color.
Right, of what it maybe the original was supposed to be. But I feel like you could feed that into the computer, right? Like, this is Tigra, or this is this character's color. This is this character's color.
I would love to see, I mean, honestly, anything that you love. For me, this is the biggest struggle I have with my kids. I would love to share certain things with them. I know, like, Mitesh is sharing that with his family. My children are, I guess, so stimulated, to things that it's hard to share old movies that have been degraded over time, because let's be honest, we go from watching 4K stuff to putting on crackly old black and white movie. I mean, let's be honest, and let's also be honest, we had just done on the main show Return to Oz, and we were talking about the original. In the original Wizard of Oz movie with Judy Garland, there's that boring black and white when she's first there, and then she goes into this beautiful magical world, and it's colorized.
And it's gorgeously colorized.
And it's done really well. Even the ruby slippers are like just sparkling. So I think that holds your attention more because there is that colorization. So my whole point with this is, yes, I would love to see them clean this up and make it pristine and preserve it, right? I just know that for me, with my kids, it's hard to capture that magic with them when things are degraded.
You had this with Frosty the Snowman, right? They kind of said, wow, Dad, this is old. Like, how old is this? It was the beginning with the newspaper clip, which was meant to look old, but it really did look deteriorated as well. Like, that's why a lot of times they make remakes, of course, right? Like, we had the 2011 Thundercats, and then, of course, Roar lately. With that in mind, we get a Mumm-ra little clip show again, right? The ancient spirits of evil in him are talking about things, are going over past misfortunes. Mumm-ra is obsessed with watching these Thundercats, as we know. And the ancient spirits of evil show Mumm-ra the story of King Arthur.
There must be something. Some way of smashing the sword of omens forever. Ancient spirits of evil, show me a way. Tell me, speak to me, anything. There may be a way, Mumm-ra. There once was a sword called Excalibur. It was created by the most powerful wizard the world has ever known, Merlin. It was a time of darkness, evil, and war.
Whoever plucks Excalibur from its stone will bring peace, justice, and happiness to this land.
The most powerful warriors and knights failed to free the sword Excalibur. But then one day an unknown youth appeared and drew the sword from the stone. So began the legend of King Arthur and Excalibur, the most powerful sword in history. He fought for justice and honor against all evil.
This was done, David, I thought, really well. Well, first off, the ancient spirits of evil were very nicely telling the story. It wasn't even done in like an evil way, like Mumm-ra. It was done like a narrator, which was funny to me.
Maybe they were just trying to be a little kinder, gentler.
The story's unfolding, and we come across Lynn Lipton in her tower. She is playing the princess that King Arthur is supposed to rescue, and I love this. She's like, she's like, look at these helmets of the men that tried to rescue me, with that, you know, that Lynn Lipton voice. And I gotta give it to her. Again, she made it sound somewhat different. It wasn't Chitara.
You cannot rescue me! Look! These helmets are all that remain of anyone who has tried. Save yourself while you can!
Go back!
Go back. Go back.
But this all started because Mumm-ra was pleading with the ancient spirits of evil. Show me anything, tell me, show me, do me. What can destroy the Sword of Omens, David?
Show me, you really love me. Actions speak louder than words. Little cover girls from the 80s for you.
How can I gain possession of this mighty sword? When King Arthur's reign was ended, he ordered one of his knights, Sir Bedivere, to return Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake. Where it waits through eternity. Will Excalibur defeat the Sword of Omens? Excalibur is the most powerful sword that ever existed, but it will only reappear when King Arthur returns to reclaim his crown. When King Arthur returns. When King Arthur returns. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form to Mumm-ra, the ever-living! Give me the guise of noble King Arthur!
The ancient spirits of evil will explain to him that the strongest sword that ever existed was Excalibur, King Arthur's weapon. Mumm-ra disguises himself as Arthur and returns to the lake where the sword is guarded by the Lady of the Lake.
In a rare appearance of him not doing drag, by the way.
So disappointed in Mumm-ra with this. I get it. He had to be King Arthur, but the tale says, David, when King Arthur returns. So of course this was meant to be that he's not coming back, right? But Mumm-ra's like, when he returns, you know, but and then he gets the idea, turn into King Arthur, which works, David. The Lady of the Lake, I would have loved to seen her. You just see her hand come up. She don't even want to get herself up to even throw the sword to King Arthur. No, you get this. You get the finger.
It's been a tough couple of millennia.
Well, she is in Third Earth, right? So God knows what's down there. With her, the Black Widow shark.
Lady of the Lake, I have returned to reclaim my kingdom and my sword, Excalibur!
notice the question wasn't answered if the Sword of Omens is stronger, simply that only King Arthur could wield it, David? Because Mumm-ra asked the ancient spirits of evil, is it stronger? And they just said, only King Arthur can wield it. So, David, I'm asking you, do you think it is stronger than the Sword of Omens?
I don't know. And this is something that I feel, how do I put this? You know how like we've talked about how the premise that Mumm-ra's power is, you know, it's like the charm ones. It's in his emotions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes. I feel like the stronger the person wielding the Sword of Omens, the stronger they call upon the power. Like when he's like, ho, ho, he's just like going for it, and the power keeps amping up and amping up. I feel like that is where the power comes, because it's a mystical power, and I feel like you can't put a cap on necessarily mystical power. It's just the person that's wielding the sword. How much can they summon? How much power can they within from themselves? When they go at their primal call, how much power can they wield? So Excalibur is mystical too, but it was made by Merlin, really, right? And Merlin's supposed to be the most powerful wizard in the world. But Sword of Omens transcends worlds. It came from a totally different planet,
I thought so too, but I feel like they did leave that open-ended not to offend anybody.
Well, the other thing is too, do you remember when Jaga got trapped in the astral world and that kind of Merlin-esque wizard, which they were trying to, I don't know. I feel like...
just read my mind, yes.
I feel like the Sword of Omens potentially be more powerful only because the sole power of Excalibur is coming from Merlin, right? We are correct on that with like Merlin did create the Sword of... That's how I always took it. You might have to look that up. I might be totally off the mark here, but I still love the mystery of it. However, the Sword of Omens is just more... You don't know about the origin of the Sword of Omens. It's like an artifact that's passed down from generation to generation. You don't know about it. Mystical power. So, oh my god, I'm talking too much. Bottom line is, I feel like the Sword of Omens potentially has more power based on how much the person who wields it can summon.
Actually says that the sword is located in a magical lake where the Lady of the Lake gave it to Arthur. Excalibur was made by an elf. Oh. So maybe Merlin was just the... I would rather have that.
Who are you? Archaeologists. We theorize an ancient cookie factory once stood on the site of this tree.
I've hit cookies!
Ah, see?
You've hit our hollow tree. Those are Keebler fudge-covered cookies. Fudge stripes, fudge sticks, and deluxe grahams. Crisp cookies inside, rich fudge outside. I've hit elves. The cookies are baked by elves.
You'll never prove that theory.
Keebler fudge-covered cookies, uncommonly good.
The sword was obtained by the king with advice from his wizard advisor, but it was also considered that there existed two Excalibur swords. The first one Merlin put in the stone. Oh, and said that the throne would be taken by the one who will take the sword out of the stone. The second Excalibur was the one in which Merlin took to the king. The sword was located in a lake where the Lady of the Lake gave it to Arthur. The sword in the stone and the sword in the lake are two different Excaliburs? That's interesting.
I did not know that.
So now it's cheapens Excalibur. That's it.
I'm sorry. Sword of Omens.
Trash. Exactly.
I'm sorry, Jaga, that I even doubted it for a second.
Now that there's two? Oh no. This is amazing. I absolutely love this because Arthur Mumm-ra comes upon the cat's lair on horseback, and the whole entire time, from the moment he appears in front of cat's lair, he is giving and
shade and attitude and like totally insulting, and he's like living out his ThunderCats are beneath me fantasy.
And he's like, I get to say it to their faces this time. Because they're literally across the bridge. And Lionel, Panthro, I want to say Tiger's there too, and Snarf. Snarf opens the gate. It starts with him saying something like, is that how you treat someone who comes to fight for truth, honor, and loyalty? You know, the code of Thundera. How do you know that? Jaga told me. Let me in.
Who are you, insolent boy? Is that a greeting to one who has journeyed through time to fight for justice, truth, honor, loyalty?
The Code of Thundera.
How do you know about the Code of Thundera?
Your Lord Jaga sent me here to aid you in ridding Third Earth of Mumm-ra and all of his evil.
If that's true,
You doubt my word? The word of a knight?
I didn't mean to offend you. We would welcome anyone who will fight side by side with the ThunderCats, especially someone known to Lord Jaga.
Oh, I am sorry, youth. Clumsy of me.
He gets over Dave, and the first thing he does is he uses Lion-O to step on to get off the horse. And then he goes, oh, sorry, young man. I just stepped on him, David. He does say you're beneath me. Look, he's like, trash. I step on you.
When I look nowhere but down, like I told my enemy.
At this point, Lion-O is still, really sweet about it. I think Panthro even does say something like, Lion-O, this is our guest, Don't be rude to him. I mean, let's just mention some of the things he says. Is someone gonna look after my horse? He sits down at the table and Snarf's about to come over and he smacks Snarf away. He's like, I don't like anyone touching my sword. You understand? This beast is touching my sword. I'm like, okay. Wants to see Lion-O's sword, which is hysterical because he doesn't want anyone to touch Excalibur, right? But he wants to touch Lion-O's sword. Oh god, this sounds completely different if you're listening to this. He wants to touch Lion-O's sword. So he goes, nope, no matter. I can already see from here that it's trash.
And I think most men want to see the other man's sword to see what they're packing.
Let me take your sword.
Hey!
Oh, I beg your pardon, strange creature. I don't like anyone to touch my sword. I'm sure you understand.
Sure.
Well, young ThunderCat, I see you have a sword too. May I see it?
No
matter. Even from here, I can see it's hardly a match for Excalibur. That's the sword of omens, I'll have you know. Sword of omens? A quaint. Are you still training to be a knight?
Look, I don't know who you are or where you come from, but...
Easy, Lion-O. This stranger is our guest.
Shouldn't someone be looking after my horse? Are you guys gonna take this?
You certainly know how to rub people the wrong way, stranger. If you're going to join us in our fight to spread the code of Thundera...
Me join you?
I thought that's why you came here.
Insolent whelp! I am here to command you to fight for me!
I don't think you understand.
You have no choice, cub! You and your worthless friends will fight under my banner!
Now just wait a minute!
You dare argue with a knight?
I dare to...
Then let your toy sword speak for you! Unless your courage fails you, we will meet at dawn.
The disguised Mumm-ra challenges Lion-O to a duel, and Lion-O foolishly accepts the challenge.
He slaps him with a glove.
Gloves!
Like, what is this, France?
But he did the old school, yes, the duel. And he says to meet at dawn. This is amazing. The next scene cuts to Cheetara, Tigra, and Panthro looking out the window. Just like, well, this is happening, I guess.
But honestly, Lion-O maintained his composure and tried to be more lord-like.
Yes.
Considering he was being insulted. I'm actually shocked that Mumm-ra did not break character and start going, when he gets like a little worked up, he gets a little hyped up and he's like, I can't maintain this calm, cool composure. I have to start snarling and growling and getting all mucusy.
Is it because he already insulted them continuously, so he got a little out kind of thing?
I think he got it. This, again, also validates my personal feelings that as much as he wants to destroy the ThunderCats, he doesn't because it gives his life some meaning. He enjoys the game.
And speaking of that, he literally set up a medieval medieval fair with a medieval obstacle course with lances, flags, and he's there on his steed, and he's still bad-mouthing Lionel because he didn't show up. I'm here at dawn. I brought this obstacle course for you.
I bought churros. I have hot churros going and corn.
I have roasted peanuts.
Where's Lionel? He should be there by now.
He'll be there.
The whole thing's ridiculous. He's fighting to save his pride.
He had no choice, Chitara.
Of course he had a choice. He could have walked away. He's just lowering himself to that madman's level.
So much for your champion, ThunderCats. He doesn't even have the courage to show.
Don't speak too soon. Snarf, snarf.
But this is badass. Lionel rides in on a unicorn, which I thought was fan-freaking-tastic, because that's true. I didn't even think of it. Like, what would he ride on? So he had to get some kind of beast of burden, right? I mean, unless they got Snow Meow.
So, by the way, that again shows you how the Unicorn Keeper, my husband, the Unicorn Keeper, how they trust him and how the unicorns trust him. He would not have that steed. He would not have that unicorn. He did not aid the unicorns, and they did not trust him. So again, this is talking to me about those relationships that they have formed in alliances with various people of the forest and animals and tribes and different things. So, because he's also technically looking like the underdog. Mumm-ra has on this, this pristine, perfect armor, very arrogant, and Lionel's coming in on like a unicorn, even though unicorns are beautiful and
but
magical.
True.
He's just a kid on a unicorn, like no saddle, no like whatever. It's just like
no saddle. You're right.
Very raw. So, and I like that because I love the underdog. I always fight for the underdog.
That's beautifully said. Chitara, ever the voice of reason. She again says, "Look at this foolishness." He's gone to that madman's level. And of course, they're kind of like, well, Chitara, he has to do it for his pride.
They're like, listen, woman. This is where it gets sexist. This is where it gets sexist. No.
You wouldn't understand.
Chitara is the fiercest. She could take down Tigra in about 5 seconds. And Panthro... I love Panthro, don't get me wrong, but without those nunchucks and gadgets, if it was brute strength, she would just run around him until he got dizzy, and then trip him with the stick.
You remember, though, he did hold... Oh, and the stick is... Oh, my God, I cannot wait to get through our next
Don't make me use my staff on you. She'll turn it into 17 different staff, and they'll fall down like...
Yeah, I mean, like a rain of sticks. Not to mention, she will break your hand if it's frozen. Anyway, we'll get to that in our next episode.
We should stop this.
No, it's a matter of honor. Lionel got into this. He has to get out by himself.
He'd never forgive us if we intervene.
This is amazing because a lot of times when they're jousting, there's that standstill, and I say very Japanese animation of when they collide, it goes black and white-esque colors with just red glaring.
Doesn't that remind you what I was going to say when Tuxedo Mask gets stabbed?
Yes!
He gets thrown back, and it's like...
a dramatic, right? Like, it's a dramatic effect of all the color depleting besides, like, a red. And this keeps happening. Matter of fact, the art in this episode, the way, again, how they told the story of King Arthur, it was done really, really well. The next thing is, the swords clash, and Excalibur is victorious. The Eye of Thundera is split in two, and the ThunderCats become powerless.
It's so much for the Eye of Thundera, the source of the ThunderCats' power. No match for mighty Excalibur. No match for mighty Mumm-ra. Mumm-ra. Yes, Lionel. Mumm-ra. Now you will feel Excalibur's blade, and Third Earth will be mine forever. Obey me, Excalibur!
that the greatest sword of all time would serve your evil purposes? Your brief moment of glory is over. Get back to your dark sarcophagus.
Merlin, Arthur's teacher, and a famous, I was going to say, and a famous musician, a famous magician, stops Mumm-ra from destroying the Thundercats and restores the eye to its original state. And I actually wrote this. Get back to your dark sarcophagus, he says to Mumm-ra. So he even knows about Mumm-ra's sleeping arrangements.
Is he more powerful than Mumm-ra?
That's what I'm getting. Like, think that they want to, like, pull this. Cool, look, you got Jaga, but look, there's Merlin, because he can come back and restore the Sword of Omens. I mean, he did restore this.
The swords, all of a sudden, they're fighting hand to hand, sword to sword, and then the swords break away from them and actually start fighting amongst themselves, like shooting each other with power and different things. And the only reason why the Sword of Omens got bested at that point was the fact that Excalibur came down and went through the Eye of Thundera, which is where the channeling of the power, the mystic power, comes from, right? If the Excalibur didn't get the chance to do that whole sword in the stone act, would they have? I think they would have just been evenly, at that point, they were just clashing back and forth. Although I will say, in Sword of Omens style, Sword of Omens had much more different mystical powers coming at different shades and colors, and it was giving you a show.
Which is funny, because we always said Sword of Omens will do anything that it needs to do, but this is where it needs to learn the Three Stooges block your eye with your finger thing.
Because the little arms could go like this and create an
Yes! Yes!
Wonder Woman blocking the...
Because if your eye is this, like, this is the weakness. I mean, we've seen the eye disappear before, so yeah, like...
Well, Mumm-ra's covered the eye with a wrap.
Is it as powerful as we think? Well, you do have stuff to cover it up. What if you put a sleep mask over it?
At night, just to give it a rest.
Who are you? I am the wizard, Merlin. Excalibur is yours now. You must decide its fate.
Where did Mumm-ra get it?
From the Lady of the Lake, who has guarded Excalibur for thousands of years.
Then, Merlin, you must return it.
Ho!
We have a sword that fights for justice, truth, honor, and loyalty. The Code of Thundera.
So be it.
ThunderCats! Ho!
Merlin gives Lion-O the sword, saying he earned it. But this is why, to me, Lion-O is a true hero, and I think a really good role model. He says to Merlin to bring it back to the lake because he didn't earn it. He let Mumm-ra, basically anger him or force him into this battle. He says, I have a long way to go. And to me, I was like, yes, Lion, that is beautifully said. And he actually does that thing with he puts the sword in and he's like, we already have a sword.
Do you think it would have been disrespectful if he kept it?
Honestly, I would have kept it because you could give it to Chitara then. Like, give them two swords and let them go wild. I don't think they would ever have a problem ever again after this.
Like Rotaro has the two
I've daggers. So
I'm giving you the rat eye.
The rat eye.
I don't know. He didn't earn it per se, but for that sword to be used for force of good on that planet, it needed it. You gotta have Willa. What did he say? Thunder, thunder. Excalibur, Excalibur.
Willa, you don't even have to call for it.
Give me sight beyond sight.
But why didn't you keep it, Lion-O? Snarf, snarf.
I had to return it.
But you won it. Merlin gave it to you.
No, he didn't, Snarf. He said I had to decide. And I told him to return it to the Lady of the Lake.
Why?
Because I didn't earn it.
You beat Mumm-ra.
I should never have fought him. Chitara was right. I let him get to me. And until I can control that, I've got a long way to go.
Lion-O does sight beyond sight, and he sees Merlin with this beautiful skyline in the back, like a dusk sight in the lake. And the hand comes out again, catches the sword, and I just absolutely, again, I just thought this was a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Notes of interest this actually does have, not trivia, but it says, the flashback at the start of the episode shows clips from the episode Queen of Eight Legs, Return to Thundera, and the Astral Prison. The legends of King Arthur and his sword Excalibur are two of the most powerful and well-known fables of all time. And this episode features many of the most popular hallmarks of many different interpretations of the story. From the relatively well-known elements such as Merlin to the Belvedere, the Knight of the Round Table. Belvita. For breakfast, you could have a radical day if you take Belvita.
I like Bonita for your bone density.
So, Belvedere, the Knight of the Round Table who returns Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake. He didn't have a voice. He didn't have a voice in this one. He was just kind of there. Lynn Lipton served. Look at the helmets of the men who tried to rescue me. Spoiler, I loved it. I loved the episode. I thought it was fantastic. Of course, we'll have bunglers later, but David, your feelings?
Really liked it. Obviously, I love the whole, the reason why we're doing sword and sorcery, I believe, I don't know, somebody, maybe a co-host came up with the possibility of the idea. I don't know. They may have.
Men in loincloths? I believe that's what you said in Sword and the Sorcerer.
I believe I said sword and sorcery is loved by so many people. I never mentioned a loincloth.
Just wait till next week's episode, Radical Ones. Currently editing. Just wait.
I loved it. Thought it was great. One of the really good ones. I love the tie-in between First Earth and Third Earth, or Second Earth. We were Second Earth, I think. We're Second Earth, but
yes.
Our tie-ins. I kind of wish they would have held on to the sword, but do you think Jaga would have gotten all butthurt about it? I told you that you only need one sword. Believe in the sword of omens, Lion-O. Now I'm not coming back anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually, I could see him doing that.
Because that sword could have been bestowed on another person of Third Earth. I made the joke, but Willa, but somebody who's a powerful warrior that would fight for the people. I'm assuming could only be wielded by one person.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be like Mumm-ra could get it back.
Unless he killed them. No, I don't know. No, you're right. You have to be good and earn it in battle, right? Yeah, so Hachiman already has the Undercutter, so yeah, he couldn't get it. Yeah, Willa, or I'm going Chitara. Give it to Chitara.
Is it fair to have two powerful swords in one house?
Yes, they're moral, and I get you can't have this for the storyline, but yes, I'm sorry. Keep the relic.
Anything to fight off Mumm-ra, I would keep. I'm sorry. I know that sounds he didn't earn it, but I would have said, I would even made a deal with Merlin. Return it in a few years or something. Return it when you think that we're ready to wield it. Think about that. When the Sword of Omens, the sword chamber got locked up, they could have had that in a separate place, another place to get it.
Exactly. Chitara's closet with the cape.
Backup. She's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's just gold jewelry. Oh, leotard. Oh, boots.
It just has gold chains hanging up there.
Oh, here it is. Excalibur.
Lightning strikes with the ThunderCats. Full throttle. Full throttle action is waiting for you when Lion-O and his brave band of superheroes
handle this, reptilian.
Get the jump on the dangerous demons of Third Earth, including those mean and ugly mutants.
They're revolting.
So don't miss all the thundering adventures.
I wouldn't if I were you.
Because lightning strikes with the ThunderCats.
Weekdays at 4 on Channel 35.
Secret of the Ice King, December 3rd of 1985, Season 1, Episode 52. An old iceberg on Hook Mountain begins to melt, releasing an ancient being known as the Ice King, who has been trapped in it for over 1,000 years. He begins to destroy the snowman's castle at the top of Hook Mountain, and the snowman tries to stop him but is frozen solid. Now, we mentioned this, David, in our news episode. Who the hell is Snow Knight? I'm sorry, but did the snowman start a rapping career in Instrum and he goes by Snow Knight?
Jordan Knight? It's not Jordan Knight?
I was going to say Suge Knight. I mean, and I'm saying it like it's crazy, but it is, because this character is never again, it's never to refer to again as Snow Knight. I get it. The writer, whoever at the time, must have seen something that said this, but even at the end, Chitara's like, it's Snow Knight. And I'm like, no, who?
I think for the episode, they had to exalt him. You know, and Fright Night was taken, Zoidsight.
I'm sorry, I love Snowman,
Moonlight.
But by the end of this, I wanted to smack him a little.
Maybe it was like, though, isn't Sailor Moon, doesn't Tuxedo Mask get referred to as a knight too or something at some point?
Moonlight Knight, but that's when he's incognito. He's going as a totally different person. So unless Snowman is doing some kind of things that we don't know about, they're
lonely in the icy castle with just a cat.
It does, Snow Meow. So, okay, this has to be near Princess Tartar's Russian Snow Kingdom, right? And we never remember we never figured this out if she lived or died. I think she just kind of screamed.
She really didn't have powers, though, right?
No, she just had money. And sometimes that's all you need on Third Earth, I guess. It's gonna get a nice Russian Snow Kingdom. So, 2 pterodactyls, I wrote, get into a battle with one another after one grabs a green gem from nearby, and then
a lava pit.
And then it falls down.
This has got to be the weirdest beginning. It's like a Jurassic Park sort of...
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I don't know, you have 2 pterodactyls fighting over like a green ruby that one ticks up from a lava thing. So this must be another part of Third Earth we're not privy to yet, because...
next to the Snow Kingdom.
They're dinosaurs living.
Land of the Lost is also there.
Land of the Lost must be there. So then they're fighting over this green emerald, I'm going to say.
Yes,
and then all of a sudden they're fighting over it. One drops it, and then a beam of light out of nowhere hits the gem, which then activates a beam of light that opens up. This had to have been like, how do I put this? Everything
the perfect storm.
Had to be lined up perfectly. The planets were in alignment, everything. Interesting. Though after 1,000 years, it's possible. Think about how many mishaps.
Snowman, I was so upset with him by the end, because I remember this story so well. This snowman is coming to kill you. But then by the end, he's like, oh, wait, I remember now. He's coming back to find his love. That's a pretty big difference, Snowman, Snow Knight.
Oh, there's a shake. The castle of Snow Knight. Glittering gracious. The Ice King. He's free of his 1,000-year sleep. But how? Snow Meow! I need you! That bridge is giving the Ice King an easy way in. Destroy it, Snow Meow! The ancient warning said the Ice King must never gain entry.
Anyway, so he's getting frozen, right? And Snow Meow jumps in front. I love this. He's like, your thick coat protects you. He goes, get the ThunderCats!
If I'm being frozen over, I'm going to be dramatic too.
Ice encasing me. Your thick fur, Snow Meow, protects you. Snow Meow, my last command. Fetch help! Fetch the ThunderCats at once!
Snow Meow seeks out Lion-O.
Snow Meow? What in Thundera brings my old snowcat friend here from Hook Mountain, alone? Snow Meow, you old roughneck. Easy, boy. I love you too. No, something's wrong. He's trying to tell me what? Snow Knight, is he in trouble? Snow Knight needs help.
But upon his arrival on Hook Mountain, he too is frozen by the Ice King. He does say, Sword of Omens, give me heat at some point. So we have a heater as well.
No, I love this.
An ice giant bombarding the castle. And Snow Knight turned into a helpless ice statue. Snow Knight, he's the ThunderCats' friend, and we've sworn to help each other by the sacred code of Thundera. Forward, Snow Meow! You there, giant! Stop this destruction and free Snow Knight! I, Lion-O, Lord of the ThunderCats, command it!
Okay, so a few things. I wanted to point out that Lion-O and Snow Meow have such a love and affection for one another. Cat just like beams, and so does Lion. It's like a pet. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like a love between them. Like they're so fond of each other. Like they want to cuddle. I guess it's like a loving thing. I don't know. I thought that was really cool.
He's the perfect like companion, like a dog, like you're saying, or some kind of animal that's so happy to see a certain person. It actually reminds me of his father, who had that saber-tooth thing on.
Maybe that's what
Thundera kind of thing. Like,
there's that. I put down a few things. I definitely put down Sword of Omens, give me heat. You also see where Lion-O, he's throwing ice shards at Lion-O, and he does the thing where he turns the sword and becomes like a shield, like the
circular, the force field in front. Should we mention the creature is like a giant? He almost looks ape-like too, but yet not.
It's a very large, frozen sort of nutcracker-esque sort of looking.
The artists can't go far. When they see ice, they go, what could we get? Yeah, Nutcracker, the Nutcracker suite.
I put down, this Ice King is pretty formidable. He can shoot out ice shards, freeze breath, laser beams, snow tornadoes powered with freezing hands that will grab at you while you're stuck in the tornado. This snow thing is very powerful.
This ice giant has a limited vocabulary, but I understand your fear, Snow Meow. His breath is dangerous. Sword of Omens, give me heat!
And he was able to like flood parts of Third Earth with snow and ice by
that's fantastic.
Creating avalanches and stuff. So pretty formidable.
And you see that because when Snow Meow is running, because Lion-O again is frozen at this point, he runs with the Sword of Omens to get help. And you do see that in front of the lair is this snow, like David's saying. So I wonder if Panthro put the snow tires on the tank because it's treachery out there. So Snow Meow has to go back for the other cats. And Chitara, when she does those, I'm just going to give myself a compliment, but I'm going to make it sound like, that I just came up with this. She's like, you don't need my intuition to know that there's something wrong. Chitara, we love you. But yes, Snow Meow is bringing the Sword of Omens to you and he wants you to follow them. I'm pretty sure there's something wrong, right? But then she makes up for it, David, because when they say, but Lion-O's in the lair, and she goes, I'll go back and catch up. That I love.
Strange. Looks like a snowfield ahead.
But that's impossible at this time of year.
You don't need my intuition to know that something's very wrong.
Wish I were back at the warm cat's lair with Lion-O. Snarfs aren't made for cold weather.
Ahead, something moving toward us.
Looks like
a big cat.
Lion-O?
Bigger.
Uh-oh.
It's a big white?
Meow! And he's got Lion-O's sword. I don't like this at all.
Snow Meow, give me the sword.
He's trying to tell us something.
He wants us to follow him, I think.
I'd sure like to know how he got that sword.
Okay, Snow Meow, we'll follow. Go. Go! The lair. It's half buried in this stuff.
Look, Snow Meow doesn't want us to stop.
But if Lion-O is still inside the lair...
I'll check and catch up with you. Go!
She ran back into the lair to make sure he wasn't there.
Are her boots all terrain? Because she runs on snow, ice,
They
desert.
have to be, right? They go past the plane of fertility. You know, just another location, as I like to say here on Third Earth. The plane of
There's
fertility.
a tie-in, too. They talk about, like, mole people or whatever that are covered by ice, and they also talk about that area where, like, the giants and the little tiny...
Yes, where Gregory Gregorman Mumm-ra was. The cave of the giants.
I like that continuity.
Plane of fertility. Buried.
The Mole Men pits. The Trollocs and Giantos caves. Buried.
Hard to believe it. This ice cap's covering almost everything within miles. But what caused it?
Look, there's part of the answer. The whole top of Hook Mountain has been torn off.
Panthro, Tigra, and Snarf arrive in the Thunder Tank, but they are too met with the same fate. They're inside, and this ice breath that the Ice King puts out, like earlier, David's right, it made a bridge even across from where the snowman's castle was. This is some breath. So they're freezing the tank at this point, and Snarf is like, we'll be frozen in a second. Sure enough, they freeze inside the tank.
By Chaga, it's Lion-O and the Snow Knight, frozen solid. Panthro, Tigra, quick! It's Lion-O!
Stay with him, Chitara. Snow Meow, we've got to deal with this.
We're going up like a big bottom bird!
Check. Only we're not on air drive.
That ice giant is forming a column of solid ice under the hull!
I'll fix that with a meltdown.
And so we got the tank in a complete ice. We have Lion-O encapsulated in ice. And we have the Snow Knight.
Suge Knight.
Suge Knight himself frozen as well. So only Chitara is left, David.
Fog! He's hit us with a fog bank.
That stuff can't hurt old Thunder Tank, can it?
That's not fog. We're freezing up.
Button up! You're icing badly. Close your vents for submerged running.
Too late. All vent controls frozen.
Yeah! We'll all be frozen in no time!
And then what is this? Snarf says something like, be like a big-bottomed bird. Do you remember someone saying that? They're going to go upwards like a big-bottomed bird?
Because the Ice King originally had created like a cylinder and were propelling the Thunder Tank up high. Like
That's what it was. That's the big-bottomed bird. Oh. Yeah, exactly.
Big Bird, why are you angry at me?
This is Big Bird, and I'm really, really angry at you.
I gotta give it to these plots, because I think it's fantastic, honestly, when we can get Lion-O taken out a little, because this would happen. I mean, it does show that he's not invincible, Lion-O, so it does give, more credence to dangers that happen on Third Earth. But my God, having Chitara use her staff to beat his hands free is one of my favorite things ever. She's like, Snow Meow, give me the sword!
Now!
And what does she do, David? She hits the staff in the ground for a second, but then she beats his... And I kept thinking, oh my God, what if his hand broke off?
She was gentle.
Frozen. Just like Lion-O. Snow Meow, the sword. Give it to me. Now. I hope this works. Lion-O, the sword. You have it.
Chitara! Snow Meow! What's going on?
Panthro, Tigra, and Snarf. They're frozen in the tank. Hurry!
Thunder! 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 ThunderCats!
Roar! ThunderCats are loose!
That's my boy!
Let's warm up with a little action.
But how smart that she put it in his hand. And she's like, Lion-O, the sword's here. It worked. It gave him heat. Give me heat. This happens, and then we have a whole other half of this episode. Just when you think it's over, the Ice King is headed into the castle's dungeon that just so happened to be sealed for 1,000 years. So Snowman had this...
Snow Knight, fool.
The artist formerly known as Snowman. Snow Knight has this in his castle.
The Ice King!
Snow Knight, this Ice King, what do you know of him?
Nothing, but he seems to be searching for something. Something very important to him.
Have you seen him before?
No, but legend speaks of him having perished 1,000 years ago.
He looks pretty good for a guy 1,000 years old.
Look, he's uncovered something.
The old castle dungeon. It's been sealed and locked for 1,000 years.
For 1,000 years, a dragon, David, has been sitting in there just... I'm taken back by this.
Well, here's the thing. Did Lion-O use sight beyond sight at this point?
Yeah, he has a look. He's used his sight beyond sight, and he says, a dragon!
Whatever's behind that door must be the answer to everything.
Let's have a look. Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. A dragon, breathing steam. Terrible red steam. It looks like an egg. That's what the Ice King was after? A truce, Ice King! Peace, and we will help you get that egg!
Do you think that's wise?
Can we trust this strange creature?
He doesn't seem interested in us anymore. Just that egg.
Anything, but tell him to keep his icy paws off of us.
It's worth a try.
So he's basically telling the other Thundercats and Snow Knight that he doesn't think that this Snow King is really, our Ice King is really their enemy. He's actually, and Chitara says something to the effect of, yeah, he's not even paying attention to us. He's like basically on a mission for some reason. So he does the sight beyond sight. He sees a Fabergé egg.
It really is a Fabergé.
Being sat on by a
dragon.
That's what I wrote. I wrote Fabergé egg Ice Master.
Because it really is.
That's what I named this episode. Fabergé egg Ice Master. They call me the Ice Master. Look at my collection of Fabergé eggs.
It honestly was a Fabergé egg.
But here's the thing. The Ice King came off almost like not able to even form words or have logical thought. And then you have Lion-O saying, we'll team up. We'll help you. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, it's like the caveman primitive thing, though, that also grunted. But yeah, it understands speech. It understands help, evidently.
That starts humanizing him, which is interesting. But here's the thing. So then you have one of the world's most dangerous games of Pop Potato.
I can't
going on
believe
with a dragon. They're like, do you remember like in Flash Gordon when she's like, go, Flash, go.
Yes.
Go. And he's throwing the football around.
That's what I wrote, football. They're playing football with this egg. And then Snow Knight goes, what a titanic battle!
What a titanic battle!
He says titanic battle. I was like, okay, I've seen more, but this got to me by the end. Like, I did not remember. I understood once he was trying to get the egg that there was something else to this, but I did not remember it was this sad, honestly sad story where this Snarf calls him handsome, by the way. You mean this handsome king is this thing? It was this Snow Ice King? He looks upon the egg and he melts.
The Ice King, gone. Like the melting snow.
I wonder why he was so desperate to get that egg.
Look, it has a hole in it. The answer is right here. Look.
Hard to believe.
He wasn't such a bad guy after all.
A scene from the past. Lovely.
Yes, part of the old legend of Snow Mountain.
I remember now.
Hey, how about a peek for old Snarf? You guys trying to tell me that this old Ice King and this young handsome prince here were the same person?
There's no other explanation, is there?
Who picks up? One of them picks up the egg first.
Chitara.
Tara, and she's like, yes, this explains everything. You don't need my sixth sense to know that this man and this woman were together.
How much can we get for this Fabergé egg? Gold? Is this gold on this Fabergé egg?
Well, that's when you think that they would do this, but then, okay, so Tigra says, how lovely, a scene from the past. So the old Ice King and this handsome prince are the same, Snarf says. And then, yes, this is where I have a problem. Snowman/Snow Knight remembers that part of the legend conveniently. Oh, yes, that's right. He only wants to go see the egg to see his wife one more time. I remember now.
I still remember.
Yeah, Grace.
I still love.
I remember part of the legend now. A curse trapped the Ice King's princess in the egg, and he could not find her.
Then he must have gotten frozen solid.
Until something thawed him out today.
And the first thing he thought of was that egg and how to get it.
True love, huh?
1,000 years worth. Boy, that's remembering.
What'll we do with this?
You keep it, Lion-O, as a token.
No, you keep it, Chitara. You saved my life.
You keep it, Snow Meow. You led us here.
Snarf?
Me?
Oh, there's one other thing I forgot to mention.
About the egg?
About the curse. Whoever owns the egg?
Not me. I've had all the snowy curses I can stand for one day.
As I was saying, the curse says that whoever owns it will have happiness, riches, and a large family.
Oh, geez, Snarf. Too bad.
Oh, well, I'm already happy. My riches are my friends, and a better family a Snarf couldn't wish for. ThunderCats, let's go. I'm freezing.
ThunderCats! Ho!
Thunder, 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 Thundercats!
Thanks, Snow Knight.
Listen to me, Ryan. He's living in a snow castle with a cat, okay? He is a cat lady. Be it a large cat, he's a cat lady. He has nothing to look forward to but gloom and snow. I was like that during COVID. I couldn't tell you if I had a Fabergé egg or if I even knew how to make eggs. So, let me tell you something. He might have forgotten that small detail of his life when he is inches away from throwing himself off of Hook Mountain.
But he also had the basement was sealed off for 1,000 years. It's like Charmed with the attic. Oh, that just happened to be sealed off for years. We didn't look at that. I didn't want to go down there and look what was happening in my treasure room. Anyway, I digress.
Listen, it got covered in ice, and there was no. What prisoners was he going to get? Snowflakes? Was he going to just pick up snowflakes? This little ice thing, this little ice ball. I'm going to put it in the prison. There was nobody to in prison.
Was it a prison or was... Oh, he did say dungeon. You're right. He did say dungeon. Oh, you're right. Okay.
Don't get me testifying up in here, Radical Ryan.
You know
Hunter.
what, though? Why couldn't he turn that dungeon into a nice rec center for Third Earth? You know, activities, bingo on Thursdays. This is when I honestly could not believe the ending to this. I could not believe that they played volleyball and none of them wanted to hold on to this egg. Yes, they did this thing with...
No, it was hot potato.
Hot potato. And Snow Knight he's about to say, like, anyone that touches it or has the egg is... And he doesn't finish, of course. So they're all throwing this around. You take it, Snarf. Snow Meow. You take it because you led us here. Snow Meow's like, oh, hell no. No one wanted this poor thing. And to me, I felt so bad because now it's just, like you said, a Fabergé egg and a portrait of these people. No, it goes over the side of Hook Mountain. They rather it go over the side than even touch it or deal with this trash any longer. And then Snow Knight goes, and anybody who has it would be granted a wonderful, beautiful family or something like that. And then we have Snarf saying he's always happy because he has the best family ever, which I thought was really sweet. He didn't need the egg.
He always calls Lion-O. He says, that's my boy.
The love is there. The love is there. Your feelings on this before we get into our bungler, David?
I have a few things to say, Ryan. I have to admit.
Were you touched?
No.
You're like, no, Snow Knight. I wasn't.
No, I was. I actually feel like I would have taken the egg and put it in Cat's Lair as another memento.
Yes.
Look at it sometimes to see that a love has not died for 1,000 years.
That's how I took it.
I just wanted to admit something now, much like when we did the movie with Tom Cruise, Legend, that we were watching different versions of a movie, the same movie. I forgot that we were doing Excalibur and actually listened to and watched the next episode of ThunderCats, and I have my notes prepared to go over this one and the next one, which is like the good and the ugly, or
oh yeah, the good and the yes, the good and the ugly. Yeah, oh my god.
Or just something, because I forgot that we didn't do Excalibur. That's where my mind is. So basically, I have a few things going on. I'm going through construction again on my house.
Yes,
and I'm
you
just
are.
finishing that nightmare. My mother-in-law's coming soon, and I just had a party for, like, we have, like, a gay dad's friends, that, like, we did, like, have a party, and, like, Pride Month, and we did the whole thing. I put rainbows everywhere. I can understand why Snow Knight was confused, because I am confused. That's my thoughts.
The ending was very touching. I do love when we could take Lion-O out for like 5 minutes and let another Thundercat shine. That leads us to one more thing to take care of this week.
Bunglers, you Bungler! Once again, you have failed. You bungled it! Delight!
Now, try to refresh your mind with Excalibur. I honestly didn't think of one for Excalibur. Besides, I would say, I have two thoughts. One is Mumm-ra, like you said, can never contain himself. Even when he's in drag costume, he has to get in a dig. He has to be nasty. I think he could probably play it off a little better, but honestly, I guess he didn't have to, because within 2 minutes, he already challenged him. So, And my other thing was, like you said, not keeping the sword and possibly giving it to another good, worthy creature on Third Earth or person. That's the only two things I could come up for Excalibur. The Ice King, I'm going with Snow Knight, Snowman, who remembered in the last 2 minutes the story correctly after it was all over.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go piggyback off of your bungles but I think Mumm-ra bungled because he relied on the fact that he just had this brute force and this powerful force in Excalibur and just kind of ran with it without even really having much of a plan. It was like, I'm just going to come in, attack with the sword, and see what happens. I feel like there should have been more legwork on a plan, maybe.
Okay, I could see that.
Maybe not a bungle. I'm going to say a slight bungle. And I'm going to say Lion-O bungled by the fact that he allowed his emotions.
Ooh.
Because if he truly believed that, even though this guy was nasty and arrogant, if he truly believed this was somebody that was sent by Jaga, I would have bit my tongue. Because here's the thing. I feel like Lion-O in general, he is trying to protect his pride, honor the Sword of Omens, but at the same time, all the other Thundercats pretty much are like, this is not a point where you have to do that. We know that you're the Lord of the Thundercats. We know that you're worthy. We don't care. We're not going to get into frivolous fights with...
Well, until the trial that are currently going on, supposedly still.
Oh yeah. They're kind of like backing him up. Like Chitara's like, there's no reason. We're like, in other words, they're not going to think less of him if he doesn't take on this challenge.
Exactly.
Yes, he insulted them, and he should have never done that. And he did slap Lion-O, but they're not bound by some sort of law that says if someone slaps you with a glove that you have to do this duel or this gun fight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I felt like he bungled it in the sense that if he had done that, Mumm-ra would have just had to have immediately showed his hand and not had the enjoyment that he had by insulting and doing all these things.
I like that.
It would have robbed him of that enjoyment that he gets about this cat and mouse game that he tries to play with them all the time and be a jerk. So,
but do you think, had Chitara been in the room, because she wasn't there during the slap, that she would have been like, oh, hell no. You know how she feels about Lion-O. He just slapped our lord with gloves?
She would have taken that stick and shit. I would have said, if you watch yourself, I'm going to shove this stick someplace that you don't want to know about. And it's going to go so high up, you're going to wish that you were dead.
You're going to meet the round table.
Try touching my man again. No. Try touching my Lion-O.
That's actually really good. I do like that point about that. Like, getting Lion-O to that point. So, like he said, he did have a long way to go. But now, the Ice King?
So, the bungle really was if Snow Knight
changed his name and decided to change it back.
Snow Knight hadn't changed his name. No.
Exactly.
The bungle, you're right. The bungle is, how did he magically, all of a sudden, after the battle's over, didn't he have time to think when he was frozen? Or something in that brain? Snow Knight bungled because how do you all of a sudden recall, like, every detail of his... Like, I get it. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, I get it, but it just seems too, like, he was too enriched with details to not have remembered something. Because here's the bottom line with me with this is, if, in fact, he knew that the Ice King was looking for his love, I would have just let him go into the castle.
That melts my thing out.
Door open. Please clean up after yourselves. Give me a good review on Airbnb when you leave, and I move on.
Remove that dragon from below that we had no idea. Yeah.
Then you wouldn't have gone through all this. So that to me is the bungle. The bungle is playing dumb and not remembering. The other thing is that he bungled because he should have said, yes, I do remember. The person who possesses the egg is to have a long life and it's supposed to bring them prosperity instead of like letting them throw the hot potato around and throwing it off a cliff. So have you ever gone to like a yard sale or an antique thing or whatever where like somebody's like has like an old antique frame and there's an old black and white picture in it? That was somebody. They're gone, but that was somebody.
Yes.
I would never get something like that and then throw the picture in the garbage or just rip it out of the frame. I would either keep it and display it in like a rando person, or I'd put
I thought it was so disrespectful.
Or I'd put the picture in a box with all my other pictures and be like, okay. Because that person lived. That person had a life, had a story. They could be nice, they could not be, but it's still a story. So I believe in respect, and I thought that was very disrespectful. So the bungle, also them throwing it around like it was nothing.
It's funny until because it's a joke, it's going to give you bad luck. But then, yeah, honestly, I think after they saw the picture and Tiger was
after they have fought this thing, they've been being very sentimental. After fighting this thing and befriending him and realizing his only thing was to get back to see a picture after 1,000 years of somebody love, and you just blatantly throw it to the side. That's kind of heartless as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I think Tiger would have put in the library or something. Like
I don't know. I guess they didn't have a bond, but I didn't like that. So the biggest bungle for me is letting it be thrown, discarded like trash.
You heard it here first.
So that's on all of them. Do better, ThunderCats.
Yeah, Chitara, how could she do that to us? She disappointed us. So, Bunglers, that was another 2 episodes. Evidently, David will be more than ready for our next set of double episodes, which is including...
It could have been 3 episodes, but Ryan didn't want it. No, I'm just kidding.
The good, the bad, the ugly. And so, yeah, we'll have a brand new episode. I'm sure we'll have your mail. We'll have stories from the Eternal Con. And thank you so much again to lovely Leah, who supplies us with the audio for the ThunderCats episodes that we use today. Of course, all of our beautiful listeners, Craig, Matesh, Zach, all of our beautiful new listeners, thank you so, so much. And David, as always, ThunderCats ho.
Who you calling a hoe?
ThunderCats.